It was an average morning that transformed without warning into a day that would be etched in history. As the sun climbed, the world experienced an unprecedented global halt. Everywhere, electronic devices flickered and died, vehicles stalled in their tracks, and an unnatural silence enveloped the globe. People poured into the streets, eyes wide with confusion and fear, staring as the skies above churned into an ominous swirl of dark clouds. Suddenly, a brilliant, piercing light split the heavens, casting a stark shadow over the earth. From this blinding radiance emerged a figure, both fearsome and majestic, suspended above the world's great cities. The figure's voice, deep and resonant, boomed across the continents, reaching every ear in every corner of the planet. Humanity, this is your final warning. Return to harmony or face extinction. This was not merely an anomaly. It was a divine intervention, a pause in our existence, a moment granted by higher powers to reflect on our path and correct our course. The day the earth stood still wasn't a beginning or an end, but a chance to change the narrative of our future. In the shadow of the day when time stood still, the world grappled with the reality of what had occurred. As people returned to their lives, the enormity of the event began to sink in. What had been witnessed was no ordinary celestial phenomenon. It was a clear and direct message from beyond. But what did it truly mean? And more importantly, how did humanity need to respond? In the eerie silence that followed the celestial proclamation, the world was thrust into a collective state of introspection and disbelief. As electronic devices rebooted and cities stirred back to life, the reality of the divine intervention began to seep into the consciousness of every human being. This wasn't just an interruption in daily life, it was a fundamental shift in the global narrative. From New York to New Delhi, streets that were once throbbing arteries of commerce and noise lay still, as though taking a deep, meditative breath. Air traffic controllers stared at screens that flickered back to life. Pilots maneuvered aircraft to safe landings, having been suspended in an impossible stasis. On the ground, cars that had frozen mid-transit resumed their journeys, their drivers shaken and more cautious. In homes worldwide, families gathered around television sets and radios, waiting for an explanation that did not come from their leaders, but from a higher authority. Governments, caught as off guard as their citizens, convened emergency sessions, while religious institutions opened their doors for the masses seeking understanding and solace. The scientific community found itself at a crossroads, challenged to explain the unexplainable. The voice that had spoken of humanity's potential doom now echoed in every discussion, debate, and sermon. In the days that followed, a palpable change took hold. Public squares and online platforms alike buzzed with activity. People shared their experiences of the event, each account varying slightly in detail, but consistent in awe and fear. The words of the divine message were dissected and analyzed, with translators working fervently to capture nuances in every language. Social media was awash with hashtags like "The Day the Earth Stood Still" and "Divine Warning," each thread weaving a tapestry of global unity and anxiety. Environmental groups seized the moment to push for immediate action on climate change, citing the event as irrefutable proof of the planet's fragility and the urgent need for sustainable living practices. Economists predicted fluctuations, suggesting that this global pause could be a precursor to a more conscious mode of capitalism, one less obsessed with growth at any cost and more focused on equitable and sustainable progress. The stock markets responded with a brief plunge, followed by a cautious recovery, as investors digested the implications of a world where divine intervention was part of the equation. The religious implications were profound. Churches, mosques, synagogues, temples, and spaces of worship across the spectrum reported a significant increase in attendance and engagement. People sought to reconcile their faiths with the reality of a divine voice that had spoken to every individual, regardless of creed or confession. Philosophers and theologians held symposia discussing the ethical and spiritual dimensions of the message. Was this a call to global repentance? A warning to amend our ways before it was too late? These discussions permeated literature, art, and academia, sparking a renaissance of religious and philosophical thought aimed at understanding humanity's place in a universe where the divine was an active participant. On a personal level, the event prompted introspection. Individuals recounted where they were when the world stood still, sharing stories of fear, hope, and epiphanies. Many spoke of a renewed sense of purpose, a desire to align more closely with values of kindness, stewardship, and community. Families and communities initiated projects to enhance their resilience. Local gardens, renewable energy projects, and community support groups proliferated, each a testament to a collective decision to forge a more mindful and sustainable path forward. As the initial shock faded, a blueprint for a new future began to emerge. It was clear that returning to business as usual was not an option. The day the Earth stood still was now a symbol of potential change. It served as a stark reminder that humanity was not alone, that our actions had consequences beyond our comprehension, and that we had been granted a rare opportunity to correct our course. Leaders in sustainability and ethics were given new platforms, their voices amplified by the urgency of the message. Legislation began to reflect a new priority: the health of the planet and the well-being of its inhabitants. It was a slow but steady shift, signaling the start of a profound global transformation. As dawn broke across the globe, an unprecedented event unfolded that captured the world's attention in a way no other had before. The Earth itself began to stir, sending a palpable wave of energy through the ground that was felt by every living being. In major cities and remote villages alike, the ground opened with luminous fissures, not with destructive force, but as if unveiling a hidden layer of reality. From these glowing cracks, a cascade of visions emerged, offering a glimpse into possible futures of our planet. In the bustling streets of New York, people gathered around a fissure that cut through Central Park. Spectral images appeared above it, showing two starkly different futures. One where the park evolved into an expansive forest, a haven for wildlife and humans alike, and another where it became a barren wasteland, a stark reminder of what could be lost. The visions were not silent. They carried the sounds of each future, the joyful chirping of birds and the rustling of healthy trees, contrasted with the eerie silence of a dead landscape. Across the Atlantic, in the heart of London, another fissure painted a vivid picture above the Thames. Onlookers saw visions of the river running clear, teeming with fish and bordered by lush greenery, versus a murky, stagnant waterway choked by pollution and neglect. These images were accompanied by the sound of water flowing freely and the distressing gurgle of a struggling ecosystem. As these supernatural events unfolded, the world's media turned their lenses on these phenomena, broadcasting them live. This global coverage amplified the impact, turning personal revelations into a collective experience. Social media platforms were flooded with images and videos, sparking worldwide discussions and debates about the meaning behind these visions and the choices they presented. Environmental groups seized this moment to galvanize their efforts, using the visions as powerful demonstrations of what could be achieved or lost. They lobbied governments and communities for drastic changes in environmental policies. The urgency conveyed by the visions translated into action, with cities initiating green projects like never before, expanding parks, cleaning rivers, and investing in green infrastructure. The public's reaction was mixed, but profoundly emotional. Many felt a renewed connection to the planet, a responsibility to act that went beyond personal or political boundaries. Community meetings, usually sparsely attended, now overflowed with citizens eager to discuss how they could contribute to steering their local environments towards the healthier futures depicted in the visions. Scholars and scientists also took a keen interest in these events, launching studies and experiments to understand the source and nature of the fissures and their visions. Initial theories ranged from natural phenomena amplified by unknown environmental factors to quantum manifestations of collective human consciousness. Universities worldwide held symposiums and talks, pooling global expertise to tackle these phenomena from multiple scientific and philosophical angles. This collective awakening marked a pivotal shift in how humanity viewed its relationship with Earth. The immediate aftermath of the visions saw a surge in global cooperation, with countries sharing research, technologies, and strategies to address environmental challenges more effectively. This period also witnessed a rise in new technologies aimed at sustainability, from advancements in renewable energy to innovations in water and waste management. As the impact of the first wave of visions settled, the world braced for more revelations, hoping each new fissure would bring more visions of hope and fewer of despair. The global community stood at a crossroads, aware that the choices made in the coming years would steer the planet towards one of the futures they had all vividly witnessed. Following the initial shock and awe of the global visions, a deeper, more structured response began to take shape worldwide. The profound impact of seeing possible futures, both utopian and dystopian, spurred a series of transformative actions that reshaped how societies interacted with their environments and each other. Governments, previously slow to enact substantial environmental reforms, found themselves under unprecedented public pressure. Inspired by the vivid depictions of a potentially revitalized planet, legislative bodies around the world passed new, stricter environmental laws with remarkable speed. These laws aimed to drastically reduce carbon emissions, phase out single-use plastics, and promote renewable energy sources. Countries that were major polluters began to lead by example, investing heavily in clean technologies and infrastructure. The corporate sector, driven both by new regulatory environments and a shifting consumer consciousness, pivoted towards sustainability. Industries known for their heavy environmental footprints transformed their operations. Automakers accelerated the shift to electric vehicles, and energy companies diverted investments from fossil fuels to solar, wind, and hydroelectric power projects. This corporate metamorphosis was partly motivated by economics, but also by a new corporate ethos that emphasized global stewardship over short-term profits. Urban planning underwent a renaissance as cities became hotbeds for innovation in sustainable living. Architects and engineers designed buildings that were not only energy efficient, but also capable of producing energy through solar panels and green roofs. Public transportation systems were overhauled to be more efficient and less polluting, significantly reducing the reliance on personal vehicles. Communities took a central role in this transformation. Local initiatives flourished, with cities and towns establishing green zones, community gardens, and waste reduction programs. Education campaigns focused on sustainability practices became commonplace, teaching citizens how to minimize waste and conserve resources. Schools incorporated environmental education as a core subject, empowering the next generation with the knowledge and skills needed to continue the efforts initiated by their predecessors. However, the journey was not without its challenges. Economic disparities between regions posed significant hurdles. While wealthier nations could afford rapid transformations, developing countries struggled to balance environmental goals with economic needs. International aid and cooperation programs, were strengthened to address these disparities, with developed countries providing resources and technology to help poorer nations achieve sustainability goals. Cultural resistance also emerged as a significant obstacle. In many parts of the world, traditional ways of living were at odds with the new environmental imperatives. Changing these patterns required not just laws and policies, but a shift in cultural values, a process that proved slow and fraught with conflict. Nonetheless, grassroots movements, often led by the youth, played a crucial role in bridging these divides, using social media and other platforms to spread awareness and foster change. The persistence of environmental issues such as climate change, deforestation, and biodiversity loss kept the global community on its toes. The visions had shown what could happen if these issues were not addressed, and no one wanted to see those darker futures come to pass. Thus, international collaboration on environmental issues reached new heights, with countries sharing data, strategies, and innovations more freely than ever before. As years turned into decades, the events of the day the Earth stood still transitioned from a vivid memory to a foundational moment in human history, a catalyst that had prompted humanity to reimagine its relationship with the planet. The ongoing efforts to mold a sustainable world were marked by both setbacks and victories, but the overarching trajectory was clear. Humanity was on a path to not just avert disaster, but to forge a future that was in harmony with the Earth itself. In the wake of transformative changes inspired by the day the Earth stood still, societies across the globe faced a new reality marked by hope and complexity. As the initial urgency of the visions transitioned into long-term strategies, the deeper consequences of these sweeping changes began to take shape, influencing future directions in unexpected ways. Adapting to environmental challenges spurred a surge in technological and social innovations. Cities, once culprits of pollution and waste, were transformed into models of sustainability. Architectural innovations leveraged recycled materials and green technologies extensively, enabling buildings to produce rather than consume energy. Urban agriculture flourished, taking root on rooftops, in abandoned plots, and across city balconies. This shift not only reduced the carbon footprint associated with food transport, but also provided residents with fresh produce directly from their environment. Transport systems underwent revolutionary changes, with electric and hydrogen-powered vehicles becoming the norm. Urban planning increasingly prioritized non-motorized transit, encouraging walking and biking by redesigning city layouts to be more pedestrian-friendly. These changes reduced emissions significantly and also boosted public health by promoting more active lifestyles. As technological landscapes evolved, so did cultural and educational paradigms. There was a notable shift toward community-oriented and sustainable living principles deeply embedded within the global consciousness. Educational systems worldwide integrated environmental stewardship and global citizenship into their curricula from an early age, cultivating a generation inherently more attuned to and engaged with environmental issues. The influence of these themes extended into the arts, with films, literature, and music frequently exploring narratives of nature, coexistence, and future possibilities. This cultural shift reinforced changes in public policy and corporate behavior, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of sustainable practices that permeated all levels of society. On the international stage, the visions catalyzed unprecedented cooperation among nations. The Global Harmony Initiative emerged as a cornerstone of international relations, emphasizing equitable resource distribution and collaborative environmental projects. Despite the idealistic goals, this new level of cooperation faced challenges. Economic disparities, political tensions, and historical distrust among nations occasionally hampered collaborative efforts. However, the overwhelming necessity for a united approach to global challenges kept the international community engaged and motivated to resolve differences. Challenges persisted on various fronts. Economic transformations introduced by shifting industries towards sustainability occasionally led to job displacements, requiring robust retraining programs and economic adjustments to support affected workers. Politically, some governments faced internal opposition from industries and constituents resistant to change, necessitating careful negotiation and policy adjustments to balance progress with stability. Cultural resistance also emerged as traditional practices and lifestyles came into conflict with new environmental imperatives. Changing these deeply ingrained patterns required more than laws and policies. It needed a shift in cultural values and personal identities, a process that proved slow and fraught with conflict. Despite these hurdles, the trajectory towards a sustainable future became increasingly clear. Grassroots movements, often spearheaded by the youth, played a crucial role in bridging divides, using digital platforms to spread awareness and foster change globally. The narrative of "the day the Earth stood still" had evolved from a moment of shock to a continuous movement for global renewal. As the years turned into decades, the events of that pivotal day transitioned from a vivid memory to a foundational moment in human history, a catalyst that had compelled humanity to reimagine its relationship with the planet. The ongoing efforts to mold a sustainable world were marked by setbacks and victories, but the overarching trajectory pointed toward an enduring commitment to forge a future in harmony with Earth. As the global community settled into its new rhythms of sustainability and cooperation, a period of reflection followed. People from all walks of life took time to assess the journey that had unfolded since the day the Earth stood still. This reflection was not just about evaluating the changes that had occurred, but also about understanding the deeper lessons learned and preparing for the future challenges that lay ahead. The transformative actions that societies had embraced brought about significant environmental recovery. Air and water quality improved dramatically across the globe, wildlife populations began to rebound, and deforestation rates slowed. These positive outcomes were widely celebrated, serving as a testament to what could be achieved through collective effort and a shared vision. However, the journey was far from over. Environmental scientists and policymakers continued to monitor the planet's health, aware that sustainability required ongoing effort and vigilance. The impact of climate change, although mitigated by recent actions, still posed significant risks. Rising sea levels, erratic weather patterns, and the lingering effects of past pollution demanded continuous adaptation and innovation. The economic landscape also underwent profound changes. As industries pivoted to more sustainable practices, new job opportunities emerged in green technology, renewable energy, and environmental management. However, this shift also meant that some sectors diminished, leading to job displacements and the need for substantial retraining programs. Economists and governments worked closely to ensure that the transition to a green economy was as inclusive as possible, providing support for those impacted by the changes. Culturally, the global visions had sparked a renaissance in how communities viewed their relationship with the Earth. This new environmental consciousness permeated every aspect of life, from daily habits and consumption patterns to educational content and media narratives. Art and literature flourished under this new paradigm, exploring themes of nature, resilience, and interconnectivity. In schools and universities, curricula continued to evolve. Environmental science became as fundamental as mathematics and literature, equipping students with the knowledge and skills to lead sustainable lives. Moreover, educational institutions emphasized critical thinking and problem-solving, preparing the next generation to address complex global challenges with creativity and collaboration. The spiritual and philosophical implications of the visions also continued to resonate. Interfaith dialogues and philosophical discussions flourished, exploring the ethical dimensions of humanity's stewardship of the earth. These conversations often led to community-driven initiatives aimed at local environmental and social issues, reinforcing the link between spiritual values and practical action. As societies reflected on the past and looked to the future, the role of technology in shaping a sustainable world remained a focal point. Innovations in AI, biotechnology, and materials science offered promising solutions for sustainable development. However, these technologies also raised important ethical questions. Debates and discussions about the responsible use of technology became common, with policymakers, scientists, and the public weighing the benefits against potential risks. The global cooperation that had initially been sparked by the divine visions proved crucial in maintaining momentum towards sustainability. International agreements on climate action were strengthened, with nations committing to transparent reporting and mutual support. This global solidarity was bolstered by a shared recognition of the interdependence of all nations in addressing environmental challenges. Looking forward, the reflections of this period fostered a cautious optimism. The lessons learned from the initial response to the visions were now embedded in global policies and cultural norms. Annual global forums were established to assess progress, share innovations, and address emerging challenges. These forums served not only as a platform for policy discussion, but also as a celebration of global unity and human creativity. As humanity continued to navigate the complexities of a changing world, the narrative of "the day the earth stood still" transitioned from a moment of crisis to a continuous journey of growth and adaptation. The story was no longer about a single event, but about an ongoing evolution of human society in harmony with the earth. It was a story of resilience, hope, and the enduring human spirit, ready to face the future, whatever it might bring. As the narrative of "the day the earth stood still" is woven into the fabric of global history, it stands as a profound reminder of humanity's capacity for change and the power of unified action. This story, which began with a dramatic pause in our everyday lives, has evolved into a continuous movement toward environmental and social harmony. From the initial shock and awe of divine visions to the tangible changes in policies, technologies, and community behaviors, the journey has been both challenging and inspiring. The world has seen what is possible when we come together with a common purpose: to heal our planet and create a sustainable way of living that respects both nature and future generations. The lessons learned from this experience extend beyond environmental stewardship. They touch on the essence of human connectivity and the importance of acting with foresight and compassion. We've learned that our actions have profound impacts, not just on our immediate surroundings, but on the global ecosystem. This realization has spurred innovations and adaptations that once seemed beyond reach. As we look to the future, it is clear that the path ahead will require ongoing commitment and creativity. The global community remains engaged, ready to tackle new challenges as they arise and to continue the work of building a sustainable world. Annual forums, ongoing international cooperation, and grassroots movements keep the spirit of "the day the earth stood still" alive, ensuring that the visions of that pivotal day continue to inspire and guide us. In embracing this journey, we acknowledge that every small action contributes to a larger change. Together, we are crafting a future that honors our planet and celebrates the best of what it means to be human, a future not just survived, but thrived upon.